Hi there, and welcome to Fantasy for the Ages, the show where father and son sit down and talk about fantasy things. There's a lot in this one. I'm the son of that equation, Zach.
And I'm the father, Jim. We're glad you're with us here today for a fun, fantasy-related conversation as we talk about Marvel today, their movies, their TVs, and just share our thoughts. Zach, how you doing today?
I'm doing pretty well. I am on my second kind of cocktail. I had to work today, but it wasn't too bad.
Okay.
The weather's nice, even though it has had some rain. So I'm just vibing, you know?
Nice.
How are you, Dad?
I'm doing well. I am on my same drink, actually, because this wine was too good. So, as many of you know, we often do episodes back to back when we get together to record. This is our second episode. I opened a bottle of Cabernet Sauvignon, a reserve level. I mean, this is a $50 bottle of wine. It's not stratosphere, but it's not
It's more than I would
table
pay.
junk. That's right, you know. And I don't pay 50 for it. I'm a member of their club, so I get it for like 35, but it's good. And I'm like, no, I just want to drink more of this. Yeah. So
seeing as it is still January, I'm still doing vodka-based cocktails. And if you couldn't tell from the glass, I pulled out a Moscow Mule today. So
nice.
Vodka, lime juice, ginger beer, and you gotta serve it in that copper mug.
Absolutely. Yeah, today's a nice day out here in the Pacific Northwest if you like it to be too cold and to snow. Nothing's sticking, but it's now up to 39 degrees. Anything that starts with a 3 on it in Fahrenheit, it's like, no, I don't want that.
Our low today is like 42 or something. I don't know. It's colder than I want it to be, but it's not as cold as you are now.
High today is supposed to be 43, and it's not getting there. I'm ready for spring. I'm totally ready for spring.
I'm down for spring. Let's do spring.
Couple more months, your mother and I will start summer early though, and we'll go on a cruise again. We won't wait for spring. We're going.
Yeah, fair enough. Sounds wonderful. Maybe one day I'll go with you, but not this year.
Not this year. Sure. But we would welcome that, to have you along on a cruise with us again.
So before we hop into Marvel stuff,
okay,
I have a fun little anecdote that I wanted to share because I forgot to mention it last time. I mentioned what I was reading. And right now in paper, that's The Blade itself.
Right.
Great book so far. But I was talking with a friend the other day, and he was telling me how he recently read this book. And he's like, oh, you're going to love it. And I was like, have you started the next one yet? And he's like, well, no. He had just finished it. But the reason he started it absolutely killed me in the best way possible. Because he was talking to a girl at a party. And they were hitting it off. And it was like, okay, what are some things you're interested into? And he had recently read Project Hail Mary.
Awesome book.
And so they were talking, and they're like, they were going to trade books. And so he gave her a copy of that. He had 2 copies, apparently. And she gave him The Blade itself, because it's one of her favorite books, and she's talking about some of her favorite characters in it. And I looked at him and I said, that is a red flag, my friend. You need to run.
I wasn't thinking that. I was like, this is a keeper. She's into Grimdark. Get this one.
I'm not even that far in. And she goes, her favorite character is Glokta. And I go, run.
A lot of people agree.
Glokta, I don't care.
Is awesome.
If this is the first time you meet this person and their conversation, run.
Oh, man. You have more to learn as you work through the series.
Sure, she's lovely. And I'm sure that the book is great. But there's a little bit of red flags if, Grimdark is the first thing you're talking about, and it's, your favorite, or you're like, I really connected and related to that character. And I'm like,
Man, there are people who would severely misjudge me if they decided to only perceive me by the kind of content I like.
But you don't typically start with saying that. Like, that's not what you lead with, right?
Hey, did you enjoy that Game of Thrones show? Where that part where he cuts off the guy's wiener? You remember
Yeah,
that
that was
scene?
my
Wasn't that awesome?
favorite
That's
part. Ramsay
great. The
Bolton,
best part
I
of the
felt
show.
a huge connection to that guy.
Or disconnection.
Anyway, it was a
All
humorous
right.
little tidbit.
Thank you for sharing. That was
We'll
pretty
see if he
good.
reads the next book.
All right. We are here to talk about Marvel today, not the comics, although tie-ins might come up in our conversation. We're really here to talk about the movies, the TV content being put out by Marvel Studios. Now, I
Marvel
say
Cinematic
that
Universe.
specifically. Marvel Studios, and Marvel Cinematic Universe, for the most part, is accurate here. There will be some additional little flirts with other things that are related to it, but primarily the MCU is where we're going to be living here today. But let's get one thing out of the way. This episode is not a deep review and comprehensive analysis of all available Marvel TV and film content.
Not even a little.
We'd be here for hours. This is just a general conversation and our thoughts.
Let's start by preface this and showing our bias. I think it's fair to say both of us are comic book nerd fans. We enjoy Marvel, and we've enjoyed Marvel Studios MCU more or less from the beginning.
We have.
And so that will color our bias. Superhero movies are kind of our thing.
Related to that, we enjoy less the DC cinematic universe. They try, but their source material isn't as strong, in my opinion. And the people they are bringing in to produce this stuff are not doing as good a job.
I mean, sometimes the actors do the best they can. Some of them, sometimes.
With material that...
And then some other times they bring in a director to like head the whole thing, and they toss out the good actors that had contracts, and then they talk about suing Warner Brothers Studios, and
what a
it's
mess.
A whole thing.
What a mess. Yeah. So we're not going to talk about DC any more than that right here.
No. I'll just kind of leave it at generally, whether DC or Witcher, or apparently there's Warhammer stuff coming out.
Is there?
Henry Cavill, I'm a fan.
Yeah.
That being said,
enough.
Don't always like all of the things he's in.
Sure. But back to Marvel. Since Iron Man came out in 2008, the content in this universe has exploded. There has been so much, and it's just picked up more and more steam as it's gone. They have so many plans, so many things coming out. Are you current? Have you caught everything?
I have not seen everything, and there's a reason. It's not like an excuse or a blame here, but I reached a certain point where I've seen a lot of things, and Rachel hadn't seen most of it. She's seen some bits and pieces.
Okay.
So I went back through and I caught her up, and we caught through, and we've gotten as far with her as Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. So we're like in the current phase of things, but therefore I've personally seen a couple of other things here and there, but not everything.
For me, I've caught just about everything. But the latest of the ones I've seen is Thor Love and Thunder.
I have not seen that one.
That's the last one I've seen. So I haven't seen Wakanda Forever, and I missed the Guardians of the Galaxy's holiday special.
I think that one's probably okay to miss.
Like, I heard actually
I'm sure
it was really
entertaining,
good.
but I'm also sure it's not that important.
But I'm sure they put things in it that play into this whole story they're telling. So if you miss it, you're going to be missing something. So I'll get it. It's on Disney Plus. I'll get to it. There were a couple other little things here and there that I have missed.
I think there's a couple shows I missed. I never watched Moon Knight yet.
I've done Moon Knight.
And I have not watched She-Hulk.
She-Hulk's great. Love She-Hulk. I have not watched Ms. Marvel yet. Did you get that one?
Like half of it.
Okay.
Haven't finished it.
So I still need to watch that. The only other thing, and I'm looking to my side at the list of things that are here, And I mean, there's a couple little things here and there, like Agents of Shield, which is a
Oh, I
parallel
love
thing.
it.
I haven't watched all of it yet. I've watched about half of it.
That being said, it's only canon through like the first 3 or 4 seasons or something, and then it
Okay,
diverges.
well then I've seen what's important.
It diverges and diverges from canon Marvel stuff.
Okay.
However, I've also seen some rumors of some things here and there of things that might happen that might recanonize some things. So who knows?
Interesting. I have not seen No Way Home yet. Spider-Man No Way
You're
Home.
missing out.
Because it's still not available to stream.
That is one of
I
the
want to watch.
best Marvel movies I think I've seen.
I know. I've heard. I've been waiting, but I'm not going to pay for it. It will come out eventually available.
That one was worth
That's
seeing
a
in
conversation
theaters for
we're going to
me.
get to a little later here. We'll get there. So my first question for us here, well, second, I asked is, are you current? That was our first question.
Okay.
Second question, is there too much? There's so much content out here. Have they gone too far? What do you think? Yes? Why do you say that?
It hurts me to say this because I enjoy Marvel. I've loved it. All these things. And some of the shows I thought have been really good. Some of them I feel like I've really missed. And in this most recent phase, especially since like Infinity War and stuff, they've kind of sacrificed quality for quantity. And they're still doing a lot of really good things and all this, that, and whatever. But there's other tidbits here and there where it's like, you did that character and plotline dirty. You did this other thing, and it's just really weak sections here and there. And so far, phase-wise, the current phase is the weakest. There are some great things that I'm excited for happening, but there's just so much right now, and only about half of it I put in the good Marvel category. The other half I put in, it's okay.
So there's a glut of material out here now. It is true. And I think to myself, there's too much. And then I watch one I haven't watched before and I enjoy myself. So I'm like, well, they keep doing pretty good. I mean, you can't 100% nail it with every single thing you put out there. It's kind of impossible to do.
But let's even go to
but things like She-Hulk that I resisted watching for a while. And then when I finally went and watched it, I was like, this is great. I enjoyed this show. So that's what I keep running into most of the time.
Here's my biggest telling argument that lately, there's too much. I've been current with a lot of things. I enjoy a lot of this genre and other things within the superhero or even just fantasy and sci-fi. And without absolutely dedicating myself to Marvel, I haven't been able to keep current. Could I? Yeah. Are plenty of people? Yeah. But you have to be like, Marvel's your number one first thing, and everything else you'll get to eventually.
Now, something I'll say with Marvel, with putting out this much content, is they're taking more risks because they're reaching deeper. They're reaching into things that people haven't heard of. Everybody heard of Iron Man. Yes, we'll come see Iron Man. Oh, the Hulk. Yeah, we know the Hulk. Captain America. Yeah, we'll come see movies about that. Shang-Chi and the Legend of the... what?
Bringing Adam Warlock into the universe now.
These Marvel fans know these. They are taking the risk of bringing these characters, these stories out, and trying to create content that anyone will find compelling. And I think overall, they're still doing it. I mean, Shang-Chi was a shock. It was such a good movie.
Generally speaking, their reaches have been more successful lately than their tried and trues.
I don't know. Doctor Strange still continues to nail it.
Doctor Strange hurt me.
What?
Doctor Strange hurt me because of all that it seemed to ignore the character growth in Wanda. It threw out her entire arc to make her an ancillary bad guy-like character.
Well, she's still an unstable personality.
The only saving grace is that I'm pretty sure there's still meant to be a standalone Scarlet Witch movie, which maybe it takes place in the future and she's not actually gone.
Hey, what do you think of Wong?
I think he's great.
Yeah, watch She-Hulk.
Yeah. He's still going to be great.
No, I'm saying, yes, you like him? Watch She-Hulk.
I also know there are plenty of people kind of mad about how Charlie Cox has been his Daredevil in She-Hulk, what roles he was given. I disagree with that camp, to the best of my knowledge.
I loved his performance in She-Hulk.
Well, it's not so much his performance and more that they felt it took away from his performance what they did with the character.
Nonsense.
And it
brought the character more into the main line of
and
Marvel.
It felt more in vein with the tone of She-Hulk.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't about Daredevil.
Yeah. No, I thought that was brilliant. But okay. Next question. What are some of your favorites so far? Just focus on movies first. We'll talk TV next. So from what's come to the silver screen, what have been some of your favorites?
Movies alone, we're going to start by saying none of the Avengers movies. That's not going to be any... They're not necessarily my bottoms. None of them are going to be my tops. Phase 1, my favorite is going to be probably...
And we can go back and forth on saying some favorites. You don't have to do an exclusive list.
Probably Captain America.
Okay. For me, just thinking of the early films, I just dug Iron Man. And it was the first official Marvel Studios flick, but it nailed it. It was so good. And I already enjoyed the actor, Robert Downey Jr., but to see him bring Tony Stark to life, that was great. What's another one?
We move a little bit later. Captain America: Winter Soldier, one of the best Marvel movies, period.
Okay. All right. For me, another big win, which I had big questions mark going in, and I am a fan of the comics. I've read comics. Guardians of the Galaxy. Yep. That was so good. It's so shockingly good.
It's a good one. Another win for me, Black Panther.
Okay. I'm okay with Black Panther. It doesn't rank as one of my best, but it's okay.
That hurts.
But then my next best is one you'd go, it's okay. Age of Ultron. Avengers Age of Ultron. I love that one.
That's actually an interesting pick because a lot of people, it's kind of the weakest of the Avengers ones.
I don't know if I agree with that, but some characters, some of the things they do with certain characters that I'm like, really? But I loved the overall story and I loved the humor. And Marvel movies always incorporate humor, but there's some great humor in that one. All the Avengers movies lean into some of those humor moments. I mean, the first Avengers movie in that moment with Hulk and the Thor, I said that wrong. The Hulk and Loki.
Fair enough.
So good.
I'll also highlight as we keep going here, Thor Ragnarok. Best Thor movie I've seen so far. I've not seen Thor Love and Thunder.
No, I'd agree with you. Ragnarok's better. Yeah. Okay. Skimming down my list. Other ones. I gotta say the introduction, and this is something we talk about later. I've got another question, but the first Spider-Man movie. When Spider-Man comes to Marvel Universe.
We're talking Homecoming?
Homecoming, yeah.
I have to ask because there's been a lot of Spider-Mans, but this is the only
those
one we care
older
about
Spider-Man movies. Nah, they're all trash compared to these. They're all trash compared to these.
You gotta stop for a moment. You have a movie you need to go watch.
Are you saying the newest one is bad?
No. The reason that I think that one is so good is because it is a payoff.
Oh, well, he brings the actors back from those previous
20 years of Spider-Man that I loved.
I am aware of that. Like Doc Ock, some of those guys come back and now are acting in this version. But
it's fair to say No Way Home is one of my tops as well.
Yeah. Okay. So was that your next one to just sign on to mine?
Yeah, I have to.
And we're just talking about the very tops of them. That might be it for me. I guess
Okay.
the one that flirts with being in that list too is Doctor Strange.
See the last.
I was excited to see
Uh-huh.
Doctor Strange come to the universe. It's a character I've always found fascinating, and I think they did it justice.
The last that I would put in there, and one of the reasons that I would say that this it does break that tier is Rachel and I've been under the weather the last week or so. And when I wasn't feeling so good, but she was still okay, I was like, can we watch a movie? And we hadn't seen a Marvel movie in a few months. And I pulled this one out, not realizing it was next. It was. And we watched Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. I think it is a phenomenal movie.
It is a good movie.
And I love its emphasis on bringing more representation to the MCU.
Okay, there you go. How about clunkers? Because there's no way you have this amount of quantity without having a miss or two.
There's some real easy ones.
For me, the biggest one, I'm just going to go there. The biggest miss, it's still a movie I found things to enjoy. But The Eternals. Wow, did that sucker fall flat. Which is a shame. It's got actors and actresses. I mean, it's got power quality in it. The story itself was weak, was the problem.
The best part of The Eternals was the post-credit scene.
That's almost consistently true in all the movies, though.
No, not
There's
at all.
So many good post-credit scenes.
But what it teased to was two different characters that I'm very excited to see their movies.
Remind me, which ones are in there?
Kit Harington plays.
The Dark
something
Knight,
Knight, Black Knight. I think it's something.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
But that's very good. And the voice that we hear in that cutscene, that's our new Blade.
Oh yeah, to have Blade brought in again. I love the Blade comics too, and the original Blade movies entertained me. But
great
let's
actor,
bring a Marvel style.
However, it's very interesting to me because having brought this Netflix Daredevil into the MCU, kind of recanonizes some of that stuff again. Where our new Blade played a bad guy in Luke Cage. So there's a little bit of it just like, let's pretend we don't know that.
Retcon. It's a comic
because he's a great actor.
It's fine. All right. Clunker.
Dud's easiest clunker. Thor the Dark World.
Okay. It's not up at the top. I didn't mind it that much, but okay. Another clunker for me is Iron Man 2. I mean, it was okay, but there's some issues with that movie.
I'll follow right up with Iron Man 3.
Oh no, Iron Man 3 is better than Iron Man 2. But it's not Iron Man. It's true. Man, I don't know. Other clunkers? I think that might do it for me.
Yeah, the Ant-Mans I enjoyed both. Guardians of the Galaxy I enjoyed both.
Yep.
I'm mad about Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, but I'm not sure I would call it bad. I'm just mad.
It's a Wanda thing for you. I gotcha.
And especially about certain sections and scenes, I can call clunky, but the movie overall, I can't go that far.
Okay. Let's shift over to TV now. The ones that came specifically to television. Favorites?
Loki.
Nice. Okay. Loki's awesome. WandaVision. I really enjoyed WandaVision. I admit, when I first started watching, I'm like, what's going on? Where are they going with this? And where they went with it, I loved. It was great.
I know this one doesn't count. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Okay.
It's great. I have a really special place in my heart for Fitz, to the extent where I was sitting here going, I enjoyed that show when I watched it. And then we was like, did I ever finish it? I think I got to somewhere through season 4.
Yeah,
and I went back and restarted it because I wanted to watch Fitz.
Yeah.
And then I watched through the whole thing and I loved it.
I got to do a rewatch. She-Hulk. It's really that good. I really enjoyed She-Hulk. Looking forward to a second season, hopefully. Don't know if they will, but
Since I think I can count it, Daredevil.
okay. Yeah, totally. All right, clunkers. I have one, and it's clunk, not clunker. It's just clunk.
Some of my clunkers in the TV realm are from what I've heard general reception, not because I've seen it, because I haven't yet. I've heard Moon Knight did not land.
That's my clunk. I had to make myself finish Moon Knight. It didn't grab me like most Marvel things will. So, and the story's fine and all, but yeah, and it's fairly true to the way the comics are supposed to be, but just wasn't gripping enough. That was Moon Knight, but that's really on TV the only thing I feel strongly clunky about. Do you have any other TV clunky?
I have one that's not clunky, but wasn't particularly gripping and interesting to me. Like I thought it would be, and then I just kind of lost interest. That was What If.
I watched all of What If. I actually enjoyed those.
I only watched half of because it was like I was enjoying it, but I was like I feel like I'm forcing myself to watch this, and I don't want to do that.
No.
And then that's the last. No, I'll say one more because I think it was intended to be Marvel and full and everything.
Might be where I was going to go. Go ahead.
And they got rid of it and pretend it doesn't exist. Inhumans.
Oh, I never watched that at all. Which is a shame. The Inhumans in the comics are incredible.
I don't remember if it ever even got the full first season. I think it might have got canceled like halfway through the first season.
Wow, that's a miss.
To me, what I think it was like just where it was getting put out and what network was kind of driving how it told the story didn't work.
Now, something that's adjacent to the MCU, but again, maybe not officially MCU still. We had Power Man and was hand in hand with Daredevil, and Daredevil's cool.
I'm sitting here going, who's Power Man?
I'm saying the wrong name then.
Luke Cage, do you mean?
Yes, Luke Cage. Well, that's he's Power Man.
No, he's Luke Cage.
Isn't he?
No, he's just called Luke Cage to the best of my knowledge.
Okay, what am I thinking of? Maybe he's just called Luke Cage. But for some reason that's in my head. I think
one of the things with Luke Cage that always confused me as a kid was he didn't have a superhero name. He was just Luke Cage.
No. Power Man. Looked it up.
Weird.
I didn't just make that crap up.
I'll tell you.
That was his name originally. But they kind of dropped it.
Yeah, it's not been in this stuff and not for a long time. Not in my lifetime, I'll say.
Well, okay. I am older than you. We're established in that fantasy for the ages.
Correct.
So I kind of liked Luke Cage, but then they went on to bring in Power Fist.
Iron Fist.
Thank you. Wow. This wine is really good.
I enjoyed Iron Fist, but I didn't fully understood that a lot of people didn't, and it wasn't the best show.
And I think it killed the Defenders that they were going to try to do, because Jessica Jones is also there, and that's pretty decent. But
I like
the Defenders as a whole didn't work because of, what did you say?
I like Jessica Jones the least personally.
The first season was pretty good.
I was just kind of like, eh.
But the Defenders, there just wasn't enough there. Not enough of a fan base to make it fly.
And so, to be honest,
I've never watched the Defenders at all. I don't even know how much came to the screen.
It was a 4-part team up mini thing that then had seasons after for a couple of the people. The big reason that then that got axed, please mouse don't come for me, was that Disney Plus wanted to launch, and they were like, we can't have our Marvel and Disney things on all these other platforms if we want to push our thing.
Makes
so
sense.
the Netflix shows got axed.
Yep. All right. I want to move on to talking about Spider-Man specifically now.
Okay.
The transition from old Spider-Man to Marvel Spider-Man. Sort of. What are your thoughts?
Okay. I like... There have been some Spider-Man movies that are not as good. There have been some Spider-Mans that do a better job of illustrating Peter Parker. There have been some Spider-Mans that do a better job of illustrating Spider-Man. There's been some Spider-Mans who do a great job of illustrating both as they pertain to other worlds and characters, but maybe on their own, if they weren't in a fuller expanded universe, wouldn't be as good as some others at different times. And then there have been Spider-Mans that are perfect, but also aren't Peter Parker.
Okay.
Yes, I'm talking about Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, which was just a great movie.
I, again, kind of resisted watching that, but when I did get to it, I was like, oh, hey, that's kind of good. I kind of enjoyed that. Because it was cartoon. It wasn't full.
It's not your style.
Right.
I hesitate to say it's the best Spider-Man movie, because I like a lot of Spider-Man movies, but it's really good. I think there's also something to be said to highlight the Venom movies, and that
most people don't speak much of the Venom movies,
but there is something to be said about them and possible connections and different things. And while they aren't connected, they may soon be. Like there's post-credit scenes exist and show things sometimes that maybe are just fun little inside fun things, and maybe are teasing something cool that might happen.
Fair.
I'd try not to spoil too much for you.
Yep. All right. I'm glad Spider-Man is who Spider-Man is now. I think Spider-Man wandered in the wilderness for a while, and they did some things, and some of it was even kind of DC-ish, and now he's clearly Marvel, and I'm happy with that.
I'll say Andrew Garfield is too cool to be Peter Parker.
Yay.
He did a good Spider-Man, but he's too cool to be Peter Parker.
I like that. While we're doing a Marvel episode, shout out to Jeremy Renner, Hawkeye. Right now, he's still convalescing from his accident this winter. News came out today, little details, that he literally broke 30 bones in his body in his accident.
That's a lot.
And he's still alive. So, Avengers power, man. But keep healing. We're looking forward to seeing more Hawkeye in the future stuff. It should
happen. Fun fact, he's from one of the towns that counts as my hometown.
Modesto, California. Yes. And, well, we didn't mention it, Hawkeye that came to TV was an interesting little show. Kind of liked it. Wasn't like the greatest of all time, but wasn't bad. Did you watch the Hawkeye series?
That is the first one that I have not watched, because that is the only one that I am intentionally not watching with outrage, because Hawkeye is her favorite.
Well, it won't disappoint.
She also just got home recently and just yelled out correct when I said that.
She could come on screen and say that.
I mean, she could, but she can't hear you. No, he's just saying you could come on screen and say that if you wanted to.
I could kind of hear her. I told your mother to come on and say hello at any point if she wanted, but she's not here. She almost did when we talked about her gray hair in the last episode.
See, I was trying to bait it, so that way I wouldn't be the bad guy and she could just get mad at you. No, my mom.
Okay, let's talk about phases. All right, yes. So we had phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, which are now collectively understood as the Infinity Saga. They had an end goal. They were building to Rach. Hey, hello. She can't hear me. Hi.
No, she can't hear you at all.
But because I know sign language, I'm better at reading lips than most people.
Let's see.
Fun facts about Rachel.
Is this hello? Is that thank you?
Down here.
That's hello?
Just avoid
No,
under.
it's not hello. It's thank you.
Oh, that's thank you.
Okay. What's hello?
Oh, I'm not in the...
You're not in frame at all. Wrong way.
You're backwards. It's throwing off.
I saw her. What's hello?
Thank you. Hello.
Just this?
Don't go under
She's
the
telling
chin.
you what hello is.
Hello?
Don't go under
that's
the
like,
chin when you
sir.
say thank you.
No, don't do this. That's I know that's a bad thing. Okay. Why does she have a black rose?
I don't know. Yes, why you had the flowers.
I'm going to put my hair.
Oh, is it for tonight?
It is for tonight.
She's going to an Edgar Allan Poe themed ball.
Oh. Tell her nevermore.
No, she can do as much as she wants.
You don't get the reference. You haven't read Poe?
I get the reference.
Oh, okay.
But I'm not validating it at the expense of my girlfriend. Anyways, we're wandering. Marvel?
I was talking about the phases. So we had 1, 2, 3. Now we've just finished phase 4. 4, 5, and 6 are the multiverse saga. Is what they're saying. You're frowning.
Have we finished 4?
Yes. Guardians in the Galaxy Christmas was
It's technically the end of 4?
The end of phase 4. Now we're going to move into phase 5 with content. And you can look this up online, which I did as I researched for the episode.
Mm-hmm.
They have a planned phase 5 and phase 6, and that will complete the multiverse saga.
I'm going to be honest. I thought Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania was going to be the end of phase 4, not the start of phase 5.
Not according to
I'm sure
the
I'm wrong.
all-knowing internet.
I'm positive that I'm wrong. It surprised me.
But sometimes it's loosey-goosey, to be sure. Like, I don't know if you've watched, I've not watched it, Werewolf by Night. It's Marvel content. It's in the MCU, but it's not officially fit anywhere. It's just there.
No idea.
I need to watch it. I'm interested. But, there's some outliers. There's little shorts. I Am Groot. If you watch the I Am Groot shorts.
No, but I know what it is.
I have not, but they're in there. They're not real critical, but they're cute. There's lots of little extra things people throw in that are just for fun. You said the Avengers stuff in phase 1, 2, 3, the Infinity War saga. That's kind of your least favorite stuff, but it was all building to the Avengers stuff. So
the problem is all of these single movies built and had good individual stories and really good character development and these things. And with these big climactic end movies that you built to, you get payoffs that only count and really that you care about in the grand scale. And so it's cool on the epic scale of Marvel, but as an individual movie is not as good. If I walked in, didn't know a single Marvel movie and just watched Infinity War,
that movie is not for you. At that point, that movie is not for you.
And so it's not a good standalone movie in comparison to some of these others
intended to be a standalone movie.
Standalones and build towards.
Yeah, I don't take away from the quality of those movies though, because they're never intended to be standalone. They are culmination experiences.
The other thing that I notice in some of these big team up movies is a similar problem that you get with crossover episodes of TV shows, because you'll often get the same crew of people working things, and you get to know your own little team and stuff within your own show, your own maybe mini series of movies like the Captain America movies, the Iron Man movies, these things.
Yeah.
But when you do these big team ups, it's something separate, or you're getting bits and pieces of different teams, and sometimes it can work cohesively, and sometimes it's trying to balance all these different people and schedules, and the actors cannot give their best performances. There have been times actors will go on record, very rarely with Marvel because they're not allowed to, and it's very hush-hush.
A lot of NDAs.
But they'll talk about how they really hated doing that specific scene that is like their big moment because they had to do it to a tennis ball because the other people had to be filming a different thing
True.
elsewhere to meet the deadlines.
Got some, they've managed to bring in some serious star quality for these movies, and that's a price you're going to pay sometimes.
And
Yeah.
so sometimes these big movies suffer in terms of the acting or writing or things because they have to be these grand scales and all this. And so as movies, they suffer a little bit.
Okay. All right, let me take it to a new topic here. Your thoughts on adaptations they've made that move away from the comics.
For the most
'Cause-
part, they're usually good.
Okay. All right.
Not always.
Not always. They've definitely, said, hey, we can do our own thing here now. This is
But-
not the comics. This is the MCU.
A lot of the adaptations that I notice move Marvel away from some of the cheese while still being comedic.
Okay.
And I'm okay.
I don't know.
with that.
I miss a lot of the skin tight spandex.
I mean,
Okay, maybe not. That was just said for effect.
no, just bounce over and go watch Ryan Reynolds in Deadpool. You're fine. He still
Hey,
wears it.
I'm getting
It's way
to that.
better than the
Get
green
there.
screen suit or the CGI Green Lantern.
So, yeah. So overall, you're okay with the adaptations that they've made. Let me
On balance, yeah.
Let me talk about the elephant in the middle of the room, the X-Men. They're not part of the MCU. There is clear emphasis and rumor that they're going to be moved into.
Yeah, which is interesting because we've got different iterations. We've got weird timelines that they've tried to fix sometimes and sometimes successfully. They've got some great movies. We've got some really bad movies. Let's not
for
talk
the
about
most
New
part,
Mutants.
what's
let's just
out
not
there for
talk about that
X-Men
one.
has been hit or miss, except for the stuff they've done with Wolverine and the stuff they've done with Professor X.
Let's not go to that extent because the Wolverine, the one in Japan, is not good.
But that's a big part of his
That one's
storyline.
just kind of like
Asia.
I mean, well, I'm not going to go that far. That one's not good. It's just okay. X-Men Origins Wolverine is not good. That's what gave us the bad Deadpool.
But then, yeah. But then made up for it with Old Man Logan.
Oh, Logan was great.
Logan. Yeah, that was good.
X2, great. X-Men Last Stand, not so great.
But it had
Days of
Peter
Future Past.
Dinklage. Come on.
First Class and Days of Future Past, both good.
Yeah.
Apocalypse.
But we need it moved into the MCU because the X-Men are, some would say, the biggest, most successful piece of the Marvel universe.
Yeah.
Others would say the Avengers. And clearly Marvel Studios said, okay, we already sold the rights to X-Men, so we're going to lean into the Avengers. That's
Very
what they did.
so.
But you're missing half the heart of Marvel when you don't have the mutants as a primary.
Correct.
We sold the rights. You gotta fix that, and I think they're getting there.
And one of the easiest early fixes is that it looks like Hugh Jackman is actually going to return to reprise Wolverine in Deadpool 3.
Well, and step back a moment. Deadpool 2 gave you some serious teasers that it was coming.
And let's just go at, that they're bringing X-Men stuff. Cable is X-Men stuff.
Oh, yeah. Oh, totally. I mean, X-Force.
He doesn't
X-Factor,
exist.
But
he doesn't
X-Men.
exist without the X-Men. Literally, genetically, he doesn't exist without the X-Men.
But in Deadpool, and Deadpool was the next topic, the final topic, honestly, that I was going to move us on to. So we'll talk more about Deadpool in a moment here. But in Deadpool 2, when they're there in the mansion and he makes this wisecrack and then the door opens on the side and there's all the actual X-Men actors right there camoing for just a moment.
Yeah.
We're doing it. We're bringing this in, but Deadpool isn't MCU.
No.
He's strongly MCU adjacent, but he's not MCU.
I think one of the biggest stopgaps has been that Deadpool is unapologetically rated R.
Which is how Deadpool is written.
Yes, and it's why it's so successful even. But it also has been a point that does the Marvel Cinematic Universe and Disney want to go that step.
Disney can't go that step. It just can't. Disney and FU don't go together.
It's one of those things where if it does happen, does it get on Disney Plus? Probably not without major age restriction things.
Man, I loved the tail end of Deadpool, where literally he goes about fixing everything that was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Get rid of Green Lantern, Ryan Reynolds. Get rid of the original appearance of Deadpool. I mean, it was just hilarious. Sorry, I was going to be spoiler light. I just kind of blew some of that with Deadpool.
I haven't been.
I've enjoyed the Deadpool movies. I am totally looking forward to Deadpool 3.
I think,
and yeah, Hugh Jackman coming back. Wow.
Most sane humans enjoy Ryan Reynolds in his acting and his persona just as a person in the world. That's not everyone, but I think the majority. And his efforts and personal mission to make Deadpool happen as it should is a large part of why we have Deadpool. And I think if Deadpool is going to become Marvel, it's likely also going to be right there. So
it would have to be Ryan Reynolds still, and somehow being able to still be who he is. You can't tone Deadpool down.
And
it's not Deadpool anymore.
Any attempt to not do that is A, not as successful, and B, I think you lose Ryan Reynolds. And at that point, I think we associated enough of it. He's done such a good job fighting for that character. I think this is one of the characters that at this point is an irreplaceable casting choice kind of thing.
I think the only way we get Deadpool in the MCU is maybe as a mega cameo. Okay, not core to the story that he appears in, but he's there. He gets some prominent action that he does, and he looks right at the camera, and he goes to say something. You know exactly how bad it's going to be, and then he's going to go like, "Oh, Disney, nope, can't do that here," and moves along. He totally goes a fourth wall again.
Here's where I want Deadpool to be. I don't know if it'll work, but it's what I want. Spider-Man 4. We give a symbiote Spider-Man. We give a darker Tom Holland. And we give a Ryan Reynolds Deadpool at certain times here and there, cameo-esque like you, and censoring himself going, oh, it's a kid. But you get the sassy mouth of these two characters that I love how they interplay with each other.
Interesting. I don't remember in the comics any real interconnection between Spider-Man and Deadpool, like, ever.
My big thing is they have that smartassness, both of them, so much that they absolutely would. I don't know if in comics they do. What I do know is people have thought about this enough that when you play various like Marvel video games and they have generated dialogue between characters, and if you put the two of them next to each other, it is hilarious.
Okay. All right. That's what I have. That's our notes. That's our questions. Good, entertaining chat about Marvel movies and TV. Anything else you want to say? A last comment before we run our outro?
I think I have a couple movies and maybe some shows I probably should watch.
Should probably do it. Yeah.
I'll get there.
Me too. Not much, but yeah. Wakanda Forever is waiting. Got to get to that.
Here it's good.
All right. Let's keep at it, Marvel. Keep bringing us good content. We kind of say it's almost too much. Zach says it is too much, but we'll keep watching it anyways. So bring it. Less Eternals, less of the Eternal quality. And
I'll keep
more.
Giving you more money than he probably will because I'll see more things in theaters.
I'll keep paying my subscriptions, and Zach will keep leeching off of some of them.
Yeah,
so
I'll do that.
it's all good. All right, let's run the outro. As always, it's been great to have you with us here today. Thanks. We hope to hear from you some more. If you like this video, like it down below. Subscribe to our channel. If you're listening to the podcast version, give us a star rating and maybe write a review. We haven't had some in a while. We'd love to add some more positive reviews to what we have. We don't have negative reviews, but if you can write one of those, don't waste your time. It's not worth it. But we'll take the positives. We'd love to see you in our various social medias, Twitter, Mastodon, Facebook, Instagram, any of those. You can email us, and we'd love your support on Patreon. Okay, I said all the things I'm supposed to say.
Good job.
Zach, say goodbye, Zach.
Bye, Zach.
We'll talk to you next time.